Okay, systems with three variables. So this is the last video for this unit. We are testing next time. So make sure, not like the time that you're going to come to class. We'll do the assignment still in class, but the time after that we're testing. Just make sure you're aware of that, okay? So let's get into this. Remember that a 3 by 3 system is really three planes that are living in a three-dimensional space. They're actually locked into specific locations. They're not just floating around. So like, you still have your X and Y plane, but now we also have a Z plane, okay? So if the planes all intersect at one point, that's one solution. And that's where you'll have like your X, Y, Z. So that's just one point, that's one solution. If no points lie on the same planes, then that is no solution. So if they don't all intersect at one spot, that's no solution. And if they all intersect at one common line, that's infinitely many solutions. So infinite solutions. Okay, so there's three possibilities you can get for these. No solution, infinitely many solutions, or just a specific point. Okay, so here's the procedure. Keep this somewhere that you can go back and look at it, but we're just going to go through this. I'm not going to read all of that. So we have these three equations. We have x minus y plus z equals -1, x plus y plus 3z equals -3, 2x minus y plus 2z equals 0. So there's three variables. We have three equations. We can solve them. So however many variables there are, you have to have that many equations or you won't be able to solve it. So three variables, three equations, we're good. So I'm just going to label the first equation as 1, the second one is 2, the third one is 3, so that I can go back and I can reference these. Okay? So I need to decide what variable to get rid of. Here I'm going to get rid of my y's because I have negative y, I have a positive y, and another negative y, so those ones will be easy to get rid of. So I'm going to start with 1 and 2. I have x minus y plus z equals -1, x plus y plus 3z equals -3. And I'm just going to add those together because those y's will cancel. So those y's cancel, I'm left with 2x plus 4z equals -4. And I'm going to label that as my fourth equation. Okay. Now I'm going to look at 2 and 3 from our originals. And I'm just going to add those two together. So I have to use all three equations. So I've used 1, 2, and 3. I'm good. I'm going to add those two together. You get 3x plus 5z equals -3. And I'm going to just call that equation number 5. Okay. Now I'm going to look at 4 and 5. Because now I have an equation with x and z. I have another equation with x and z. So I have two variables, two equations. I can solve this for x or z. I'm going to get rid of my z's by multiplying the top equation by -5 and the bottom equation by +4. So I'm just going to do the opposites for both of those. So the top equation by -5, bottom equation by 4. You could have also gotten rid of your x's here if you wanted to. I just chose z's. And once you multiply that out, you get -10x minus 20z equals +20, or 12x plus 20z equals -12. Now I'm just going to add those together. Those z's cancel. I'm left with 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, you get x equals 4. So there's one of my points. I still need to find the two others. I need to find y and I need to find z. So I'm going to start by finding z, because I have an equation with, so I have my x, I'm going to plug that back into either equations 4 or 5. It doesn't matter which one, just 4 or 5. And I am going to pick 4. So I have 2 times 4 plus 4z equals -4. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 4z equals -4. Subtract that 8 over, you get 4z equals -12. Divide by 4, you get z equals -3. Okay, now I have x and I have z, so I can just plug this back into equations 1, 2, or 3. It doesn't matter which one. And then we just solve for y. So I'm going to plug it into equation 1. So I have 4 minus y plus -3 equals -1. So that's 4 minus y minus 3 equals -1, which is 1 minus y equals -1. Subtract that one over, that's -y equals -2. Divide by -1, so y equals +2. I have my 3 points. Now I just have to write them as an ordered pair. So that's 4, 2, negative 3. And we're all done there. Cool? Let's do one more example. So again, I'm just going to label these as 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is the first equation, 2 is the second equation, 3 is the last equation. And then I need to decide which variable to get rid of. This case, I'm going to get rid of x's. Honestly, you can pick whatever you want just as long as you pick it and you stick with it. Okay? So let's look at 1 and 2. I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 2 so that x becomes a negative 2. So this becomes negative 2x plus 4y minus 6z equals negative 24. Now you add those together, those two x's cancel, you're left with 3y minus 8z equals negative 19. And we're going to call that equation number 4. Okay? Now let's look at equations 2 and 3, because I've used 1 and 2, so I have to use 3, and I'm just going to use 3 with 2. And I'm going to multiply that bottom equation by negative 1, so that becomes a negative 2x. So that becomes negative 2x minus 2y plus z equals negative 4. Add those together. The 2x's cancel. I get negative 3y minus z equals 1. And I'm going to call that equation 5. So now I have two equations with just y and z. I'm going to add those two together. So, and when I add these, we don't have to multiply either one of them because the 3y's will already go away. So 3y minus 3y cancels. Negative 8z minus z is negative 9z. Negative 18 plus 1 is negative 18. Or negative 19 plus 1 is negative 18. Divide by negative 9, you get z equals 2. Okay? Now I'm going to plug that back into equations 4 or 5. I'm just going to pick 5. So I have negative 3y minus 2 equals 1. Rewrite that out. Add the 2 over, you get negative 3y equals 3. Divide by negative 3, you get y equals negative 1. Now I have z, I have y. I'm going to go back, plug it in for into equations 1, 2, or 3. I'm just going to plug it into the first equation. So I have x minus 2 times negative 1 plus 3 times 2 equals 12, which is x plus 2 plus 6 equals 12, which is x plus 8 equals 12. Subtract the 8 over, you get x equals 4. And then again, I'm just going to write this as an ordered pair. So that's 4, negative 1, and 2. And you're done. That's your final answer. Okay, if these are never, like if these aren't x, y, and z, say it's a, b, and c, just put it in alphabetical order. Like if it was E, F, G, you put that E comes first, F comes second, G comes last. It's always just alphabetical order if it's not X, Y, and Z. Okay? Remember to take the quiz. I will see you guys tomorrow. Also, remember, test is coming up, so make sure we're preparing for that. Okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow.